Are fragrance creators lying to you, or are they just playing it safe? That's the question that we're going to answer in this video. There have been a lot of conversations on social media as of late about fragrance creators only reviewing perfumes that they like. And I want to give my take on it and why I think they're doing that. We're going to do this as I do my little layering routine. But there's been a lot of talk on social media as of late about whether or not fragrance creators are really enjoying the fragrances that they get. This is not a new conversation. This is a conversation that has been going on for a while. Yes, I start with an oil first, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. That's a conversation that's been going on for quite a while. And to be quite honest with you, there are a few reasons why I feel like creators do that. And I just want to let me paint a picture for you really quickly to see, so just so that y'all can better understand where I'm coming from. If you were going to a restaurant and you went to a restaurant, right? You realized in going there that the service wasn't good. When you walked in, nobody greeted you. Nobody said, "Hey, how you doing?" Nobody said hello. Nobody checked on you when they sat you down. It took forever for you to even get a seat, and the vibe just was not welcoming. It did not give "I would come back." And then, even though the service was bad, you still decided you was gonna have to see it through, my boy. So you decided to stay. Okay. You get your food. None of your food is right. Your order's wrong. You had to send your order back a few times. You've had to, the food wasn't seasoned right. They didn't cook it right. Whatever the case may be, right? And the overall vibe of the restaurant did not give it. I don't know. It just wasn't it. Would you then run back and tell your friends and family? I need more oil. Would you run back and tell your friends and family, "Hey, I went to this amazing restaurant and I think y'all should really go. I think the food was great, the service was great, the vibe was great, everything was good"? Would you tell them that? No, you would not. More than likely, because that would make you a liar, especially if you are the go-to person for food recommendations and restaurant recommendations in your family. You would not go back and tell your family to go to Jerry's Hot Dogs on 5th and 9th. I'm just making up stuff. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't tell your family to go do that because you know that it was trash. You know that the overall vibe, I think I'm gonna do my feet last. You know that the overall vibe of that restaurant was just not cool. It is the same thing with a fragrance. Me as a creator, I'm not gonna come on here and talk to you about a fragrance, especially if I know I didn't like it. I'm not going to rave about it and tell you that it was the best thing that I've smelled since, I don't know, Johnson & Johnson baby oil. I'm not gonna do that. But what I am gonna do is gonna get on here and tell you about a fragrance that I do like. This Creme de la Creme body oil from Brown Sugar Babe is absolutely amazing. It projects well. It's not a strong vanilla scent, but I think it does get the job done. I genuinely do think that about this body oil, right? I've used the body oil. I like the body oil. I'm more inclined to tell you about things that I like than I am to tell you about things that I don't care for as much. This is starting to make me tired, so I might not finish this routine. But yeah, that's the same thing with fragrances. Fragrance creators are not lying to you when they tell you that, when they really rant and rave about every single fragrance and they tell you, "Oh my God, it is so good." They're not lying to you all the time. Genuinely, like, fragrances really are that good. Now, is there some validity to people feeling like that? Because every single fragrance you review, you like, yeah. Them thinking that is very valid. But to think that that's every single fragrance creator is a bit of a stretch, right? Now, I do understand that with TikTok Shop being a thing, fragrance creators, some people get on there and they will gas up a fragrance because they want that commission. Oh my God, I literally had a mob chasing me down the street as I was out just doing my daily errands to tell me what I had on. They kept telling me how good I smelled. They literally held me at knife point. And they said, we're not gonna let you go until you tell me the fragrance. And then there'll be some basic fragrance that you probably have smelled and you think it don't even smell that good. You see what I'm saying? Stuff like that, I could definitely understand why, people would think that a fragrance creator is lying. But I assure you that's not the case. Here's why people would stick to what they like. When it comes to fragrance, they're already expensive anyway. So, does it really make sense for me to get on here and promote a fragrance that has patchouli, that has woody notes, that has amber in it, if I know I'm not a patchouli, woody note, ambery girl? Would it make sense for me to get on here and come to my community of people on social media and say, oh my God, I found the most amazing fragrance, da, da, da. Now, granted, there may be, I'm gonna take a break, y'all, because that made me tired. Anybody else get tired putting their perfumes on? Anyway, that may be the case, right? I probably did find a fragrance that had all those notes in it, and maybe it did smell good, but all in all, normally, I would not gravitate, just as an example, I'm not going to gravitate towards a fragrance that smells like that because that's not the type of smell that I go for. When it comes to fragrances, especially for a lot of fragrance creators who do this for real, if you've been collecting fragrances and indulging in fragrances for 5, 10, 15 years, by this time, you already have an idea of the type of stuff that you like, right? You already know what you like to wear. So it really wouldn't make sense for you to come on here and rave about a fragrance knowing it's not nowhere near the scent profile that you even like in the first place. I liken it back to that restaurant that I mentioned, right? You're not gonna go to Jerry's Hot Dogs if you felt like the service was bad, the hot dogs wasn't all that good, the chili wasn't that good, you're not gonna go to Jerry's fish and things if his fish wasn't fried to perfection and it wasn't seasoned, and if the other things on the menu just were bland and not anything to write home to mom about. It's the same thing with a fragrance. If I don't feel it, it wouldn't make sense for me to promote it. But I also think too that y'all can't fathom somebody just not liking something. I feel like sometimes us because I'm somebody who's a consumer of content myself, when we consume content, it's kind of one of the things like there's no way that this person is actually liking every single thing that they get. And I feel like sometimes we want somebody to not like something so bad that when they do find things that they like, we think that it's a scam or we think that it's not real. I know the internet is not a very real place, and I know that a lot of the stuff on the internet is not realistic and not aspirational. But for a lot of people, their opinions and reviews are very real. But also another reason why creators wouldn't get on here and talk about things that they don't like, or talk about things that they don't like, or promote things that they don't like and say they do like them, it really messes with the integrity of things. Do y'all remember that one creator who did that she did an ad with L'Oreal? She was a beauty creator, did an ad with L'Oreal with mascara or something like that, and people were accusing her of using false eyelashes. Do y'all remember that? She got a lot of backlash about that particular thing, right? That messes with the integrity, because she was one of those girlies where people would not go buy a product unless she gave her stamp of approval. It's the same thing with fragrance creators. There are certain creators on TikTok that I watch and I like their reviews. I tend to trust their judgment. So if they got on here and they started promoting a fragrance and they knew deep down that they didn't like it, I'm not going to look at you the same way. And that's the same with everybody else. If you go to somebody for a certain thing and then they start promoting bullshit that they know they don't like, you're not gonna trust their opinion, and you're not going to. They no longer can be somebody that influences you to buy stuff, because that's the point of an influencer. Which brings me to my next point. The point of an influencer is to influence you to buy something, right? Now, sometimes there are influencers who get on here and they promote stuff knowing good and well it don't work, and they get folks to buy it, and then, at the end of the day, it don't matter to them because they didn't got their money, they got paid. But you're the one that's looking stuck, you know what I'm saying? So, if I'm going to influence you to buy something, at least let it be something that I genuinely know I like, and I feel like you would too. I'm going to want to bring something that's going to resonate, with my audience. And then also, my people, if I've really been, rocking with y'all or checked in, if I've really been talking to y'all and engaging, when something ain't genuine. You can tell, especially if you've been locked into the person that you're following, you can tell when their content or when what they're talking about, it just does not come off as genuine, or they just don't seem really all that into it. When people make their fragrances or whatever, they put a lot of energy into those fragrances, because and it's one thing where it's just like, I can get on here and tastefully say this fragrance was not for me, I really didn't like the way it smelled, and I really didn't right? That's one, especially if they're like an indie perfumer or whatever, and they're just trying to get their fragrance off the ground. Perfume is one of them things where it is subjective, and that's my next point, but it's subjective. And so what I like, you're not gonna like. But also, I can get on here and post. I'm not afraid to post about fragrances that I don't like, but there's just a way to do it. But again, there's a lot of energy that goes into creating those videos, no matter what the video is. There's just a lot of energy that goes into it. So why am I going to waste that time recording, editing, and posting a video for something that I don't even like, when I can just talk about something that I do like? And it makes the process more enjoyable, because let's be for real, when you are a creator and you're making videos like that, creating the content, is fun. It's the back end stuff that's terrible. That's really not, nothing to look forward to. It's the editing and the trying to find the right hashtags and all that type of stuff. So if I'm going to do that, I at least want to do it about something that I enjoy. But the last thing I want to say is that perfume is subjective. It is not one of those things where it's a fact that it smells good. No, it's not a fact. It's a fact to you, but it's not a fact to everybody else. I could get on here and say Love Spell is the best smelling perfume by Victoria's Secret. That's not a fact. That's very much my opinion. And a person has the right to tell me no, right? And I think that's another thing too, with talking about whether or not fragrance creators are lying. People forget that, like most things on the internet, dealing with beauty and lifestyle stuff, especially when it comes to a product, most of the time it's a subjective thing. And everybody's nose is not the same. Everybody's nose won't pick up on the same type of smell. What smells good to me might not smell good to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's something else to remember and to keep in mind, as well. And even when people get stuff in PR and they don't have an obligation to post, I just feel like it would make sense for them to, even before they get the PR, if they know what it's gonna be, if they know those are notes that are not up their alley, they're just not gonna accept it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my thought process is on it. If I don't see myself, here's my rule of thumb when I look at fragrances, right? And I'll still post a video about it even if I don't like it. But my rule of thumb is, if I don't see myself It is thundering real bad outside. Anyways, if I don't see myself wearing this on somewhat of a regular basis, because sometimes I might not wear the same fragrance all the time, but if it's really good and it has my nose hairs and a chokehold, if I'll reach for it. If I feel like it's not going to grab my attention when I first sniff it, or if I don't really feel like it's going to be something that I could see myself gravitating towards, then I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it, which means I'm not going to talk about it, right? And I think there's another thing of people think that, oh, well, because she got it in PR or because they got it sent to them, she's lying. No, sometimes, a lot of the time, people that you see when they review fragrance, especially perfumes, they more than likely went out and bought it with their own money. That's not to say that fragrance creators don't get stuff in PR, but it is to say that not everybody does. Same thing with clothing items, or same thing with food or whatever. Not everybody is on a PR list. And then even if they were, it would not make sense for a company, if the company seen like for instance, Brown Sugar Babe. Let me grab this oil real quick. Brown Sugar Babe sent me this oil, this 4-ounce oil. I already had it in like a 2-ounce, but they saw a video of me talking about another oil that had nothing to do with this. And they said, well, since you like that, we want to send you that oil in a 4-ounce and a few more oils, right? Most of the oils that they sent me, I liked. I gave one of them away because it just was not my scent profile, right? But I would think that if a brand saw a video that I made about their product and they wanted to send me PR, I would think that it would be smart on their end to send me something that is within the same scent range as theirs. And even if it's not, even if it's something new, they just want somebody to talk about it. And another thing, the last thing I'll say about this is, just because this is my fragrance of the night that I'm wearing, just because I don't like a fragrance doesn't mean, I think I've said this already, doesn't mean that you have to choose. Doesn't mean you have to choose not to buy it. Doesn't mean you have to say, I'm not gonna buy this. That kind of smells Windexy a little bit. But anyway, it doesn't mean that you have to say, I'm not gonna buy it. Because again, like I said before, fragrance is subjective, you know? And because I don't like something doesn't mean that you will. And doesn't mean that you won't. And you know, sometimes, like I said, just because there are a lot of fragrances that have notes in it that I don't really care for, but they formulated it in such a way that I don't even smell it. So it's just one of them things where you have to just use your own judgment and say, would I want to buy that fragrance? Is that something, if you don't feel drawn to it, don't buy it. Don't even worry about it. So to answer the question, are fragrance creators lying to you, or are they just playing it safe? I'm going to say they're not lying to you. And I'm going to say it's not so much as they're playing it safe. They're just only going to stick to things that they know that they're going to like, especially if they've been doing this for a while. And because things are very expensive now, it just would not make sense, especially if they're spending their own money. It just wouldn't make sense for me to go out here and purchase something that I don't like just because it's viral, or just because, you know, people want me to know about it. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's something that I don't like, if it doesn't speak to me, I'm just not going to, you know, spend my coin on it. So hopefully that answered your question. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. Do you think that fragrance creators are lying when they talk about stuff? Or do you think that, you know, they're playing it safe, or do you think that it's a little bit of both? What do y'all think about the whole conversation? Let me know in the comments. Thank y'all for watching. Be sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. There are more videos coming down the pipeline. I thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.